Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. And on this Servant Leadership Sunday, man, we're going to talk about something that's pretty basic, man, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But it's talking about putting in the work, man. And I think a lot of times, when we talk about believing and faith and perseverance and staying the course and going through the process, one of the concepts that has to be reiterated throughout is making sure that you're putting in the work because faith without works is dead, right? Meaning, believing in something without actually acting on what you're believing in is not going to really yield you the results that you want. In fact, it may not yield you any results, right? It's just going to yield you a broken heart. And you're going to lose faith and you're not going to believe anymore. And then it's going to be not even something that you aspire to become. So I want you to understand something. When I say put in the work, I'm not saying it from a egotistical, I put in the work type of thing. I just mean do what's necessary to accomplish what it is that you said you wanted to accomplish, right? If you want to become an executive, put in an executive like effort. If you want to become an NBA star, put in an NBA star like effort. If you want to become an NFL player, put in an NFL player type effort. It's really foolish to say you want to be something, but not strategically structure your life in a way that would allow you to facilitate becoming what you said you wanted to be. And I have a couple of scriptures here. This is going to be real short. I know it's Father's Day and I'm on vacation, but I did this a little earlier because I want to make sure that on Father's Day, all of the men, all of the dreamers, all of the fathers, I'm sorry, and all of the women out there, all of the people that are dreaming and believing, right? Putting in the work is a necessary prerequisite to becoming successful. There is no reward without work. Anytime you try to put reward before work, you shortcut the process. It's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be long lasting. So you got to take your time and you got to build a firm foundation by putting in that work, putting in that grind, if you will, to make sure that you're able to, like I said, facilitate and accomplish what it is that you set out to do. So today we're gonna look at Colossians chapter 3 verses 23 out of the English Standard Version. And it says, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. If you're on a job and you don't like your boss, that shouldn't be a reason not to put in your best effort. Or if you're on a job and you're not earning what you believe you should earn, or you're not being quote unquote paid according to your worth, that's really not a good reason as to why you're not going to give the best effort. Because the difference in what you don't see is you have to sort of be the part before you actually get the role. A lot of times in corporate America, just in life in general, right? And what I mean by that is this: if you're barely a good cashier, you're probably not going to be manager, right? Because they're not going to see you as the manager, and the people that are making the decisions can't envision you as a manager because you're not putting in a manager like effort. Although you may not be happy with the position, you may not like the pay of the position, that's no reason to shortcut the output or the least the effort that you're going to put into the current position that you have. Because promotion comes from the Lord, and it says you have to work as if you're working for God. And if you're not a believer, work like you're working for yourself. Right? If you're not a believer, then put somebody that you respect in that position. Me is God. I work as I work unto the Lord. But for you, it may be working like you work for Bill Gates. Like you're a direct report of Bill Gates, and you know that if his happiness could change your entire life financially, if you will, right? Put a specific person in that place, right? To make sure that you're gonna put forth your best effort, right? It's not about playing mind games. It's about making sure that you have the motivation to do what it's going to take to really get you to that next level. And it says, work heartily, right? Be excited about your work. Be full hearted about what it is that you do. Be full hearted about the parts of your job that you don't like, right? There's no such thing as a good day or a bad day. You're a performer when you go to work, right? Now, really, you may have a good day or you may have a bad day, but you're on stage. If you go to see a play, right? If you pay your ticket money to go see a play, you don't care if those actors are having a good or bad day. This is your first experience with the play. You want to make sure you get the best experience possible. So because you paid, right? Well, the same thing coming into your grocery store or your fast food chain or your corporation, right? This is a person's experience that you're providing, and you have to perform. It's not about you personally when you clock in to another organization, right? You're there to provide a service and get paid. They don't pay you based on how they feel. It's an agreement that you've agreed to. And I get that, in a lot of instances it's not the best deal, right? There are companies that could pay their people more. I'm not here to argue about that. But once you take the position, once you sign your name on a dotted line, you've now set yourself in agreement to provide a certain service, and now you have to do that. It's not about those other factors or variables. It's about you. And then if you put somebody in that place, like I said, whether it's God or somebody else, you're going to perform up to a certain standard. Now, the second scripture I want to talk about is really dealing with what happens when you put in that type of work. And it says and it's Proverbs chapter 13, verses 4. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4, out of the English Standard Version. It says, the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Let's think about this, right? It's saying the soul of the sluggard craves, but it gets nothing. What does that mean, right? You're desiring this lavish life. You're desiring this outcome, whatever that outcome is. Let's not put an outcome. You're desiring a specific result, but you're not gonna get it because you're sluggish in the way you approach it. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold, sometimes you give 100%, sometimes you give 50. It all depends on what you feel like that day. Some days you feel like going to work and you do the best. Some days you can't stand it and you go there and you perform horribly. Well, it says you're going to get nothing because that inconsistency is going to be measured back to you. And they're going to treat you like you're inconsistent and you don't trust valuable business positions, policies, procedures, accounts. You don't trust valuable things with inconsistent performance because you need that. For a company, they want consistent results, right? They want to make sure that they're in the black all the time. They don't want to be ever. They don't want to ever be in the red, right? And consistent performers keep them there. And it says, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. That speaks for itself. If you're diligently going about the business of trying to better yourself and putting in the work and getting to that next phase of what it is that you believe you're called to do and climbing that corporate ladder, climbing that financial, tax bracket, all those things, if you're diligent about it, it's going to happen. It says richly supplied. Now, richly is an adjective, and it's really depending on the person what richly supplied is going to mean. For some, it may mean 100,000. For some, it may mean 100 million. And there's everything in between, and there's things below and above, right? But that's something for you to be said. That's where you come in. What is richly supplied to you? And if it's on the upper end, that 1%, 10% of what people make, you better be at that level inside first, and then be able to perform and maintain that level. Right? Now, the last one I'm going to do is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 23. It says, in all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends to only poverty. All right, let me say that again. It says, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 23. It says, in all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. Either you're going to put in the work and profit, or you're going to just talk about what you want and going to and basically live in poverty. The choice is yours, right? Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it eat the fruit thereof. Death and life are in the power of the tongue because the tongue is going to kind of facilitate the action, if you will. And if you don't really go after what you want and you merely talk, you're really only deceiving yourself, because I truly believe there's a good feeling for saying you're going to do something right? You get a little good feeling, right? At the beginning of the year, you sit down, you make your plans, your New Year's resolution, you write out what you're going to do, and you feel good. Even though you haven't accomplished anything or you haven't started on the process, you still feel good. And that's a good thing, right? I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because I believe that's God giving us the ability to kind of motivate ourselves initially before it becomes a routine and discipline kind of takes over. So that good feeling is not a positive, not a negative thing. But if all you do is feel good about what you said, you're deceiving yourself. You're getting that quick fix, that quick ramp up, but you're never actually turning it into the work, which is then going to turn into results. All I'm saying, man, is on this Father's Day, on this Servant Leadership Sunday, just put in the work. Put in the work because it's going to mean the difference between you being successful and having the life you want. And again, it's not only just about you, it's about those other people that are connected to you, that are walking through life with you, that are tied to your dream or your success or your goal that you can't even see, man. So it's important that you put in the work. So we had three scriptures. We had Colossians chapter 3, verses 23, Proverbs chapter 13, verses 4, and Proverbs chapter 14, verses 23, all out of the English Standard Version. Once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Be blessed, put in the work, keep grinding. Peace.